This will be a hybrid fusion. This will be one of the hardest fusions in the game. In today's video, guys, I want to help you and prepare for the upcoming legendary fusion. I know a lot of you guys are massive fans of the champion, so let me make your life easier. What exactly you need to have on your account and what exactly you need to do starting right now in order to complete the legendary fusion. I know a lot of you guys are massive fans of this hero, right? And he's pretty solid. He's gonna be pretty busted. He will make the arena a complete cancer, and it seems like Plarium's answer to polymorph is bring in even more polymorph. Let's all be a big horde of sheep and have one common shepherd. But leaving the joke on the side, guys, leaving the joke on the side, I personally had enough with the sheep. If you're not familiar with what the champion can do, let me just quickly walk you through it. So he does look pretty cool, right? Armanz the Magnificent, support champion, legendary from the Barbarians. He can increase the cooldowns of the enemies with the A1. He attacks all enemies, and this is a very unique skill. He will steal all the turn meter from all of the enemy team. So just think about it in the following way. This skill does not grant him an extra turn, but as soon as you are stealing the turn meter from the targets, you're instantly going to get another turn. They only need to have over 25% turn meter, and this will allow the character to constantly rotate over and over and over and over again. Then of course you can turn enemies into a sheep. You can place a stun on all of the enemies. You can remove all of the buffs from the enemies, and then you're constantly getting turn meter whenever you have different actions, which again will make this champion to constantly take turns and never allow the enemy to take a turn. That's how powerful he will be. He will keep the enemy controlled for the entire duration of the fight. Okay, that's going to be the main problem. Of course, polymorph and the resistance are the main counters for this character. He will have a speed aura for arena and a passive that will lock the enemy skills whenever they exit the sheep form, the polymorph, right? Which will make this very broken for arena. That's why I said like it will be pretty broken. Now what I'm going to do, guys, we're gonna have a nice infographic with a fusion calendar where we're actually gonna go over everything that we need to prepare. This will be a hybrid fusion. This will be one of the hardest fusions in the game, guys, okay? Hybrid fusions are always a bit harder than the fragment fusion events or the classic fusions because you need to be spot on with the events. You cannot really miss any of them. So take for an example the Blizzard the Howler, right? This is the calendar right here, and how you may notice, this actually had a Pair of Light event as a surprise. If we're having a look at the Newt fusion, this one had a surprise, a third summoning event, you know, and hopefully this will not necessarily have any surprise event. I feel like the best thing we can do quickly is to check the calendar. Do we have anything that is displayed right here, or we have to wait for Thursday? So how you may notice, nothing in the calendar, so we don't know what exactly we can expect for the moment. Armanz the Magnificent. Now keep in mind, these events will not start in this specific order. This is just for representation. I cannot foresee the future for these guys. But what I do want to point out, let me just quickly do this for a second, is that we have 4 epic champions. We might have one copy of the same exact epic. Most probably is very likely for that to happen. And we're going to have to get 400 fragments for that. Now, every now and then, in some of this fusion, we will have a few extra fragments for the epic characters. But usually we don't really have many extras, so we can't really skip any of the events. We gotta be spot on with them, get the 400 fragments, get the 4 epics fused, level them up, get the chickens up and ready, and then move over and complete the actual legendary fusion, okay? So as usual, I am expecting to have 4 tournaments, right? Dragon tournament, which is one right here. Then we have, of course, the Ice Golem, which is right here. The Fire Knight and the Spider. Now, this is approximately 3000 energy per event. I would assume the points for the fragments will stay the same at 2250. And one thing to keep in mind, just because we are trying to grind fragments for epics instead of legendaries, will not make it easier, okay? So keep that in mind. So right here we have 3k energy, okay? So I'm gonna put an E like this so we know what we're talking about. That's approximately, like it really depends what stage you guys are farming. And the most efficient stage to farm, guys, will be stage 20. Now, of course, if you are looking to get better gear, I would strongly suggest you farm the highest possible stage, because the main thing in the game is have better gear. So right here as well, we have 3 more K energy, okay? These are all the 4 tournaments. Now, usually they will be together with the Dungeon Divers events. Now, you may notice that I have the infographic made with some different colors, right? Usually, before, the only 2 events that were kind of like a threat for people were the Summon Rush and the Champion Chase Tournament. This used to be like big question marks. Can we complete this or we cannot? Like, what's happening, But now we have the Dungeon Divers events as question marks. How difficult will this Dungeon Diver event be? So we have more events that are a bit harder than they used to be, Then the classic arena takedowns, we expect to have 2. We never have more than that. And those are pretty straightforward. They're not extremely rewarding, but hey, they're there and they're pretty easy to complete for the majority of the players that are actively playing the game, Then we have artifact enhancement events. We have, of course, the training events. Now, I have all of the easier ones with yellow. The champion training event tends to be a bit more challenging than the champion training tournament. But honestly, they're not events that require insane amount of resources, so they're pretty straightforward when we're talking about completing them. We kind of like know always what to expect from them, For example, a champion training tournament, right? It goes at around 5,000, 6,700 points to get the fragments, So it's pretty hard to approximate how much energy you need here, but it really depends what campaign you're farming, what stages, what champions you're leveling up, what champions you're ranking. Are you giving them some levels before you're using the chickens to rank the other champions to a higher rank, etc. But for a champion training tournament, I would say you need in between 2 to 3k energy, especially if you're planning to do a lot of food from 1 star, 2 stars, Because it's pretty grindy, but is around there. It's nothing extremely hard to kind of like achieve here, honestly. The champion training event pretty much will be the same, but a bit more on the higher side, So let's just say for the tournament, you might need like 2,000 energy plus books count for that as well. Maybe we're gonna have a CVC during that, maybe we're not. But when you're using a book, you're gonna get points for that. When you're ascending characters, champions, you're getting points for that. When you're doing that in the champion training event, you're not getting any points. So here, you're more on the higher side of the 3k energy based on what champions you're leveling up. Maybe even more than 3k energy, It really depends what exactly you have in there. But especially if you want to complete the entire champion training event and get a legendary book or primal shard or whatever else they're giving us there, you're gonna need more than that for sure. Now that leaves you with the dungeon divers, which are kind of like the big question marks, and you're never going to complete a dungeon divers event by completing 2 tournaments. Like if you have the dragon tournament and the ice golem tournament at the same time with the first dungeon diver, usually you need to do another tournament on top of it to get enough points to complete it, So these are pretty costly in terms of energy. You're definitely going to require to add a bit of extra energy. Now, if you're doing the champion training tournament, you're doing the dragon tournament, you're doing the ice golem tournament, all at the same time, together with the dungeon diver as an example, right? That will definitely get you very close to it. You're probably not going to need more than that if you're doing 3 at the same time. Now, the main thing is that there is always that extra dungeon diver, right? We tend to have 3 dungeon divers nowadays, so one of them will become a bit more challenging because you will require to bring in 2,000-3,000 extra energy out of nowhere. For example, let's just say on this one right here, 3k energy extra than on the previous ones that we completed, you know. So that adds quite a bit of energy up. But let's just say we have 4 tournaments, 12k energy, 2 champ training, right? Let's just put them both on 3k. You're getting 18k energy from there. Then you're gonna need 20k plus energy. And the thing is, you're not going to basically need to save up 20k energy. When you play the game, every single day you're getting in between 500 all the way to almost 1000 energy per day, right? So you don't need to save all that. But if you have around 2k gems saved up, you know, just in case, you're gonna be pretty safe with the energy, because with what you're getting from the game, you might be able to save the small pots that you're getting from the daily free pack. They can stay in your inbox 99 days, so you can save those ones. And slowly you'll be getting more energy. Now, of course, I would suggest you to try and save some of the energy that you might have available. Then we have kind of like the next things, and those are the artifact enhancement events. Seems like I don't have a total for the silver right here. I forgot to add one, but we have 3 of them. And these as well are pretty costly, okay? And in order to complete this, you don't necessarily need to have all the silver ready either, because you're going to have all these tournaments that will give you silver, the champion training event and tournament that will give you silver. But in order to get the fragments in an artifact enhancement event, you will need approximately 15 to 20 million silver, okay? And this is being more on the average RNG. If you're lucky, 10 million will do it. If you're unlucky, hell, you can go past the 20 million. So you have 3 of these, okay? 45 million silver approximately. Maybe less, maybe more if you're unlucky. But usually is a bit less than 45. I'm trying to always put it into the high bracket of how much we would need, just to kind of like be prepared more for it. And how I mentioned, farming all of these events, tournaments during the fusion will give you silver as well. So you don't necessarily need to stress about it too much. And that leaves you with 2 more things, guys. Now, we could have a surprise event in here as well, an extra summon rush, a pair of light event, or anything like that. How you've probably noticed, this does not show us anything else after Wednesday, okay? Not even Wednesday, Tuesday. Tuesday is the last time when we actually see an event starting. So we're expecting to see the new events, the new calendar in here starting from Thursday, when the update reaches the game. But we have the Summon Rush. Recently, they've been fairly decent at around 3,000 points. So you will need the equivalent of around 6 Sacreds, okay? 6 Sacred Shards. Now, you can have Voids. I wouldn't suggest you to open Ancients during a Summon Rush, because the point return is absolutely horrible. You're barely getting anything, you know? But if you have the approximate of 6 Sacred Shards in points, which is approximately 3k points, you should be fine. And then for the Champion Chase tournament, this is a bit different, but again, you will need approximately 2.5k points to 3k points for these 2. And that's the equivalent of way more than 6 Sacred Shards. That's why it's not worth it to open Sacreds during a Champion Chase. It's worth it to open Ancients, Voids, Primals, and Sacreds are kind of like made for the Summon Rush. But for a Champion Chase tournament, you will need probably 40, 50 Ancients. It really depends how many epics you're getting. If you're very unlucky, you will need more, unfortunately. If you can fuse a Broadma, fuse a Rally Keeper, maybe have a Fragment event just literally waiting for you right here, you know, to be summoned. That's extra points as well. These fusions right here, Rally Keeper, Broadmas, you know, like if you have some heroes, champions prepared for this, is going to be very, very helpful. Try to do some of them. Maybe you're lacking a few copies of this. Look for the greens from now and start preparing a few of them. Level up, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 of each one of them to make a few copies. Get some potions. You will require some potions. I don't know what rarity yet. That's the only problem. Affinity, sorry. I don't know what's the epic, you know. We know the legendary is magic, but that doesn't matter. It's not really gonna mean that the epic will be magic as well. We will need quite a few potions too, but that's something that you can get during the event, or you can start getting now at least some arcane potions while you're just waiting for the fusion to start, you know. But that will kind of like pretty much be it, guys, you know, like 6 sacred shards, guys. So let's put it here. And honestly, if you have anything else, 40 plus ancients will be very helpful for the chase, you know. And if you have fusions for the rare heroes, that's where you should use them, you know. That's where you should use them for sure. And that will be it, guys. Hopefully you found this helpful. That's kind of like what you need in order to prepare for this fusion. And honestly, is a solid one. You might not want to miss it if you have the resources available. Have a look at it. How I mentioned, you really need to be spot on with the events. Probably we won't be able to skip maybe anything, you know. So just be ready mentally for it. Do you have the time to do it or no? Because time is going to be a key factor in the whole process. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.